Welcome to the first episode of Forensic Video Law, where we're going to take you inside the world of forensic video and speak to the people who are fighting for justice every day.
Helping people across the country through the worst time of their lives has been our mission. Our focus is using high-definition video to capture their everyday struggles after being injured due to someone else's negligence, significantly increasing their case's value. We document the most horrific pain and suffering you can imagine. Amputees, brain-injured children, burn victims. The list is ongoing and extensive.
But this journey didn't begin with high-definition cameras. It started in 1974 with a visionary, my mentor, Chris Ballard. And today we're going to dive into that origin story. I'm your host, James Jenkins. And joining me today is someone who worked with Chris, who knew Chris, and watched the birth of forensic video in real time, renowned attorney Robert Spohrer. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, James. Thanks for inviting me.
My first question is, how did you first meet Chris?
So the late Chris Ballard, my good friend, your good friend and colleague, started Omni Video in Jacksonville in the mid-'70s, and that was when I was starting as a young lawyer. And I can't recall precisely how we met, but I know I was convinced that he was an innovator in using video to assist with personal injury and wrongful death cases. And so we struck up a friendship and began working together, and that was a collaboration that lasted for decades.
And, to set the stage for the viewers, what was the outline of the videos back then? How long did they run?
So, first of all, the equipment was very primitive. Lights were very big and heavy. Cameras were bulky, and so what we would do, rather than send a long letter to an insurance company or a corporation regarding the case, is Chris would bring in his cameras and I would sit at my desk and talk about the case. It was kind of like the 6 o'clock news. But it was dull and it wasn't as compelling as it could have been. And so Chris, as an innovator, said, look, we need to have less of you as a lawyer and more of the witnesses and the clients and the case. And so we began incorporating interviews with people who were going to be witnesses at trial. And by using this technology, we were able to show the decision makers at the insurance company, the claims managers, whatever. This is what the evidence at trial is going to look like and sound like if you don't settle this case. And so it was a great negotiating tool that Chris was able to develop.
Now, Chris was the first person to get video in the state of Georgia and in many places across the country. He named those videos Day in the Life videos.
Right.
And so can you sort of set the stage for our viewer? What did those entail, a day in the life video?
Sure. So if the case was not resolved by settlement and we would have a trial, it was imperative for the jury to understand what a badly injured person's life was like and how their life was changed in so many different ways. Well, obviously, we couldn't bring the court to the person's home. We couldn't bring the jury to their home. But by using video, Chris was able to prepare day-in-the-life videos, which would run for quite a while, but he would take hours of video and pare it down to maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And the jury could see from the moment that the injured person woke up in the morning, what it was like, what it was involved for an amputee or someone with a spinal cord injury. How difficult was it for them to get out of bed, to get to the bathroom, to shave, to dress themselves, to have breakfast. And so we would show each aspect of the activities of daily living, and then it would be edited down so that the jury could see exactly what a day in that person's life was like. And they were very powerful in the courtroom, very impactful, and so much so that the defense tried many ways to try to keep those out of evidence, objecting on the grounds of relevance or hearsay or whatever.
This was history making. This was revolutionary, wasn't it?
It was very cutting edge. And it was innovative, and Chris was really a pioneer in this area.
And speaking about trial, you also ended up using the day in the life videos at mediation as well, didn't you?
Exactly. So the courts required the parties before trial would begin to go to a settlement conference, or a mediation as it was called, and we could use parts of that same video from the person's home at the mediation to show, again, the decision makers, this is going to be used in evidence if the case is not resolved by settlement.
So, I mean, what was the defense insurance adjusters? Were they screaming? I mean, did they ever have any emotion when you showed them these videos?
I will tell you one story, that we had a gentleman we represented who was badly injured in a shooting incident, and the assailant, had been convicted and was in jail. And I was able to interview him, and I brought in part of this video that Chris had shot, and the assailant broke down in tears and for the first time confessed to what he had done. And he was very remorseful because he was able to see exactly how he had impacted the life of this victim.
And the day in the life, it really told a story about that person's day. But then I joined Chris in the early 1990s, and I've been working with you for 33 years. And he started developing some of the video settlement brochures, or what I call now mediation videos.
Right.
And it tells the story about who the person was before, what happened. It could do causation and damages. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you use those in litigation?
Sure. So what we were able to do, and by the way, I have to compliment you because I've sat in on many cases where you were interviewing my clients, and you had a way of asking questions and asking certain questions in a way that elicited information from my clients that I had not known about, and it was very helpful for me in representing that individual. But yeah, so we would put into one video information and evidence about liability, about damages and causation, and show this at settlement conferences. And again, it was a very compelling, very powerful tool.
And so, Bob, I mean, how did this, I guess, change your practice? How did this improve? Was this a tool? How would you describe
Oh, it was a very, very powerful tool to use in advocacy for people. All of these videos were very compelling, whether they were shown to an insurance adjuster or to a defense attorney or to a judge or jury. They were able to see what the injured person's life was like and how it had been affected by this incident. And so it added incredible value to cases because the decision makers realized that we were ready and willing and able to go to trial if the case was not resolved for a fair amount.
And, helping people, that's our mission, that's our focus. And you actually had a story also about some of the people we helped. What is this? Is this a DVD? You remember those, everybody?
So all of these videos we're talking about were on tape, and
VHS tape, Betamax.
Yeah, so the technology obviously is vastly improved now. And several years ago, you took a lot of my old tapes and put them onto discs. And so I took a look at one of them to prepare for this meeting, and it was incredible how the production values were very good for the time, but we look at them now and they're very primitive. So not only was the technology evolving, but so was the subject matter and how we went about preparing these tapes.
And so that's what we're trying to do, is continue the legacy of Chris Ballard with my company, Forensic Video Law. And so, I mean, the other thing is with technology, and you already touched on it, I mean, it has gone, because we used to have to deliver a video to you, and then you'd, or have a priority courier, then you'd look at it, then you'd call us. Now we can just do it over the computer. I mean, technology is, I mean, from there to 1974 to now, what would you say?
Oh, the technology is vastly improved. The production values are much better. And we've all learned from doing this for decades. You've been doing it for 33 years, as you said. And in addition to the settlement videos and the day in the life videos, your company and your work is involved in every aspect of our case. For example, you have the capability of using drone technology to do aerial videos of an accident scene, for example, which is very, very helpful in certain cases. And we had a case, I think, a year or two ago where our client was injured in a store, and there was a store surveillance camera which captured some of the images, but it was very grainy. It was not very clear. It wasn't very bright. And we gave it to you, and you were able to enhance it in a way that it was much more visible and much more compelling to use in front of the jury.
And there are so many uses for video in litigation. And I guess one of my last questions here is, I mean, do you think that attorneys today appreciate the evolution of video from where it was to where it is today?
I don't think so. I think it's everybody's used to the high-tech technology that you've got now, but it wasn't always like that. Back in the day, as we were talking about, the production values were not nearly as good, and the subject matter was not nearly as good. But not only has the equipment improved over time, but so has your knowledge and my knowledge of how to use these videos, how to prepare them, how to interview the clients and witnesses in a way so that the finished product is much, much better than it was years ago.
Well, that's the purpose. And again, the main purpose is to help people and increase the value of their case. And I guess my last question would be, I mean, overall, does this increase the value of the whole case?
Yeah, there's no question in my mind that it adds value to any lawsuit, whether it's used as a mediation tool to negotiate a settlement or used in the courtroom, such as a day in the life film. There's no question in my mind that you bring the jury into the person's life by using video, and it's very compelling.
Well, Bob, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks, James. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching the first episode of Forensic Video Law. Today we explored the beginning, and we're just getting started.